Welcome back. Well, as promised, we'll discuss some more earnings that are expected today. And first on ACC, let's go across to Nigel D'Souza, who will tell us what are the key expectations. Good morning, Nigel.
Well, morning. You know, ACC, in fact, has corrected close to around 20% odd from the peak that we saw in 2018. And valuation-wise, this stock is actually attractive, because in terms of an EV per ton, it trades at a discount to even replacement cost. That being said, all eyes on the numbers today. In terms of the top line, we are working with the growth of roughly around 8.5% odd. Majority of that will be driven by higher volumes. Remember, they have been ramping up capacity utilization levels. ACC has pan-India presence, so they'll gain because prices in North as well as in Central India, they have been higher, but they lose out because in South and East, we have seen prices have been a tad bit weakish. So realization should be a little bit positive on a year-on-year basis, but majority of that top line growth will come in from volumes, and volumes are expected at around 7.4 million tons or thereabouts. In terms of margins, we're expecting some sort of an expansion in terms of margins. Few factors playing out here. Operating leverage, obviously, they're producing more, so some operating leverage will play out. The second factor will be, remember, they have signed an agreement with Ambuja Cements, so they're working on their freight movement of clinker as well. That's likely to play out. And the third factor is the axle load factor. You can load more amount of cement and other raw materials onto the truck, and that's likely to play out as well. So some sort of a margin expansion is what we're working with. Finally, the net profit is likely to jump up by around 24% odd. I understand that the meeting will start by around 10 to around 10:30 odd. So hopefully we'll have ACC for lunch. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Nigel, for that. So we will watch out for all those factors and the margin expansion. But from cement space, now moving on to the consumer space, because Marico will also be reporting numbers. So Manglam, tell us, what are we expecting?
Well, Nigel said we'll have ACC for lunch. So perhaps during soup time at 3-4, we'll have the Saffola healthy soups if you must. So Marico, the stock ended at the low point of trade yesterday. It's still, at 367 trades at around 43 times FY20 earnings. For Marico, just like Titan, we also have a cheat sheet. The company came up with their quarterly update. So total income growth is seen at around 14%. 1850 crores is what the street is expecting on the top line. Margins are likely to expand by a bit because the EBITDA growth is seen at 17.2%. That means a margin expansion of nearly 50 basis points. 19.1% is what the street is factoring in. A net profit on the back of that likely to grow by about 15%. The number that you'd be looking out for would be around 256 crores. So the 14% top line growth, where does that come from? Domestic volume growth seen between 7 to 8%, and the remainder will be made up by price as well as product mix. So price and mix led growth seen between 6 to 7%. Put them together, you get the 14% top line. Why is the revenue growth 7 to 8%? Why is the volume growth 7 to 8%? Because it comes on a heavy base of about 9.5% as well. Well, the Marico management during the quarter itself had said the volume growth in the domestic business has been lower than their medium-term aspiration. What is their medium-term aspiration? It's 8 to 10%. That's why the street is working with 7 to 8% in terms of volumes. Parachute rigids, they grew healthily during the quarter ahead of medium-term guidance. And for Parachute, the medium-term guidance is close to around 5 to 7%. So that is likely to outperform. And remember, keep an eye out on copra prices, because 50% of the company's cost of goods sold is copra related. Price of copra fell from 140 to 110 to 120. And it falls for 18 months. It's an 18-month cycle. But this time around, the government increased the MSP that puts a base to the decline in copra prices. We'll keep an eye out on that and also watch out for the international business.
Okay, Manglam, thank you so much for that. So those were the key earnings that are expected today. But on to some important national news now. As the West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee's dharna enters day 2, she has turned the fulcrum of opposition unity. Several opposition leaders, including Tejaswi Yadav, Kani Mozi, visit the dharna site. Remember, Mamata gave a statement that she would continue this dharna till February 8th. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has agreed to give an urgent hearing today to the CBI's plea alleging destruction of electronic evidence related to the Sarda chit fund case by the Kolkata Police Commissioner. A 3-judge Supreme Court bench comprising of CJI Ranjan Gogoi, Justices Deepak Gupta and Sanjeev Khanna will hear CBI's plea at 10:40 a.m. today. The court said it will come down heavily on the commissioner if he even remotely tries to destroy the evidence.
All right, so post those national news, what we do is take a short break, come back and get you a check on the cues to watch from the futures and options space.